I love history. I'm so passionate about history, especially ancient history and medieval history, and I've enjoyed integrating that love into my fantasy series. So for this episode of Peter's No Cap History, it's going to be a little bit different. As I've said 1,000 times before with that, the purpose of that show is to combine my love of history and fantasy to provide potential point of inspiration for aspiring fantasy artists, writers, and world builders. This is going to be yet another episode where I put my money where my mouth is, because I have gained quite the library of illustrations and character art for stuff in the Godshards world. In celebration of the anniversary of the Six Strangers, I'm going to be going over this artwork and telling you what inspired a lot of the various visuals within it. Let's get to it. So first off, we're going to be talking about stuff from the Uniter, which is the standalone side story in the Godshards universe. In particular, I want to talk about the Butcher here. He is a fearsome Malum warlord, Malum being my answer to orcs, as it were. There's a lot to talk about with this guy's outfit, okay? I mentioned this before in another Peter's No Cap History episode, but this guy takes a lot of influence from Celtic and Gallic armors. Now, the Butcher's outfit is a mix of different Gallic influences. The helmet and the chainmail come from like later period stuff, as well as the plaid cape he has. That plate armor there comes from earlier Gallic stuff comparatively. The tattoos on the Butcher's arms have spiral patterns and stuff, which is in the spirit of Celtic tattoos. Now, obviously, there's some stuff here that's my own inventions. The chain blades aren't based on anything historical. This is a mix of Kratos and Kai from Kung Fu Panda 3. There's slight liberties and adjustments taken with the color to make it feel like the darker aesthetic. I like to think this leads to a result that is more visually distinct and different. This isn't just a generic dark warlord with like spiky plate armor. I mean, taking reference from history to give an appearance that is fresh and hasn't been seen before. At least that's what I'm hoping this conveys. Then we have Rufe's outfit, which is pretty straightforward. It's based on Greco-Roman style dresses and togas. Same goes for this artwork of Clodius. Again, we're talking about stuff that's very Roman and Greek-esque, so that's going to manifest itself in these places here. Next up, we're going to skip ahead about 900 years to the present day, as it were, during the timeline of the Six Strangers. We swap out the ancient influences with Renaissance-era stuff. So first up, I want to talk about this image here. This is from the beginning of the book. This is Leo with the Guardia Grifone, the premier mercenary compagnia of the Cradle Lands, with Avella the Godshard casting a powerful magical spell. The helmets and the plate armor on these guys are based on actual medieval and Renaissance Italian samples. We have barbutes, we have salets. Plate armor as well is particularly based on Italian samples. To fit the Guardia Grifone aesthetic, their armor is black with golden stuff around it. Stuff like this is my pride and joy. This image right here is Godshards in a nutshell. We have historical influence stuff while also having the more high fantasy-esque magic and stuff going on. Avella's outfit is not based on anything historical, and this also is not taking influence from Dune. I know some people seem to think that. That's not what's going on there at all. Next up, we have this illustration. This is from the middle of the book, where Leo, Avella, Petro, and these Benelim Marines are fighting in a pitched river battle with Malum raiders, led by this mysterious rogue Godshard. The outfits of the Benelim Marines here, again, Benelim are like my answer to elves. Their outfits are based on Byzantine stuff, particularly the Marines, the Zarcones, as seen here. Yeah, there's a similar color, blue and the like. Petrol's outfit here, you can't really see it from the back too well, but that's based on Byzantine officer stuff as well as like the Varangian Guard. While you don't see it on screen, the fire on the bridge here was from what's basically Greek fire. Like Byzantine flamethrowers were a thing, and that was what was used to ignite this bridge to try and prevent these Malum from crossing. And speaking of the Malum, a lot of the armor here is kind of based on a bunch of different things. I gave a lot of liberty with this because these are raiders, their armor and gear is going to be from all over the place. Then we have this third and final illustration from the climax of the book with Leo and Elizabeth taking on the fearsome centaur-like Nephilim warlord known as Iriel, the Bringer of Wrath. His outfit is based on a bunch of Mongolian sources, a lot of the heavier armor that the Mongolian lancers and their horses would wield. The sword is based on, I believe, Chinese sources, and as you can see, it leads to quite a fearsome result. While it's not really pictured here, this guy's warband is also very Mongol-esque. Most of them are centaur-like, but there's some other more conventional riders as well, and they all have similar gear to Ariel. They work long swords, glaives, and composite bows. It's also notable to talk about Leo and Elizabeth here. because their character art is pretty damn snazzy. Their character art also comes from various Renaissance style source. Leo's outfit here is a mix of different stuff. His outfit is not quite rich but not quite poor either. He's like in that kind of transitionary thing because, you know, he has more money than he did before. He's still not extremely rich. And then we also have Elizabeth here, whose outfit is very evocative of German sources, particularly the Landsknechts, you know, which leads to stuff like that striking hat and the asymmetrical plate armor. Another thing to note about this, Elizabeth is the second shortest character in the book, as well as the shortest member of the titular Six Strangers. There's only one other character shorter than her, and it's literally by an inch. Elizabeth is 5 feet tall, and if you look at this artwork, her hat gives her like a whole nother foot almost. Elizabeth is not someone who has a true Napoleon complex, but she absolutely wants to make herself look bigger and more intimidating to still compensate for that small size. She also is a very pragmatic fighter with this Gizarm here, which is an underutilized polearm weapon in fantasy. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff there. Like I said before, I like to think that this is something that makes the series fresh and stand out a little bit more instead of just everything looking like a generic fantasy. So that is basically it. Do you guys like the helmet and the sword, by the way? I'm thinking about wearing this for the Peter's No Cap History stuff going forward. So that is it for now. I will see you guys later.